We need 4 reporters. I think I know who they are. We've got Henry, John, Vivian. Who am I missing? Oh, Stephanie. Who did you get? Sally. Oh, Sally. Bravo. Okay. What's going to happen is they're each going to take a turn and report back to us what they spoke about and what the group identified as their 5 to 7 items that they wanted to share today. Again, all of the obstacles you identified and a longer list of opportunities have all been captured as well. But we wanted to get down to some narrowing and some nuts and bolts of what you wanted to work on.
We had a lot of obstacles, of course. First was labeling program. We wanted the retailers to voice the brand and to talk about being local, connect producers to consumers, and then also have a standard of quality, so not just everybody could have a made in Marin, which was up for dispute, but something like that. So. The second thing was building relationships and alliances with Sonoma County, since we're both ag communities, and that has to do with processing, infrastructure, and regulatory issues. Educating retailers to facilitate rather than impede. And we want them to align with other counties' regulators as well. So in other words, we want those regulators to help us rather than work against us. Another thing was shared facilities on the 101 corridor for storage, for distribution and processing. Some of the distribution especially should be on the corridor. The other things can be elsewhere. And sort of a subheading of that was to create some kind of tax incentive or private investor monies to help the ag community to support processing and distribution. And land use availability, that had to do with zoning regulations, identifying properties, and doing some on-site processing.
To emphasize, first of all, that a systems approach to the problem solving is essential, especially with some of the things on the board here, that they are integrated at all levels of production, sales, and community connection with the farmers. So one of the things is education. I didn't put these up in order, but work experience, what those career pathways are for the folks that we are educating. Where are they going? What gaps are they going to fill? And how are they going to strengthen the agricultural community in Marin? And one of the things we definitely stressed was that some of the best education is farmer to farmer. So those folks who have been going generation to generation through the farm community on farm are often going to be the best farmers to follow suit. So how do we create those pathways and strengthen their experience and also their potential to continue farming? So resource management and utilization. Again, I think this links with distribution. We talked a lot about distribution and processing, how to get produce from the field to the market in a quick manner so that you don't have losses with spoiling. And also streamlining that for scale. We have a lot of small farmers. How do we ensure that they can get their product into the market in a timely fashion and sort of collaborate these small farmers and focus that stream? Utilization also of resources, tractoring, implementation, land, water, water being a very hot topic. So then how do we stimulate the incentives for the continued production of row crops and strengthening the market within Marin? And tax incentives is becoming a hot topic of how, and this is really where the systematic approach falls into place, is that what type of tax incentives can we create for the retailers? What type of tax incentives can we create for the growers so that it stimulates one and the other? Drawing demand and making it easier on the farmers, but also making it easier for distributors, especially some of the large corporate distributors, to take in the product that Marin can offer. Also working to strengthen the Marin regional label, really tying in with community education, outreach, and again, connecting with the retailers. And something that was expressed is that we need to go to the retailers and ask them, what's the problem? How can we fix it? How do we get our products into your stores and onto your shelves? I think that covered that.
I guess one of the biggest challenges for dairy in Marin is just to survive, just to exist. And we need to be able to pass on these farms and ranches to our children. So we need to be able to diversify. And I think we all agree on that. Some of the things that we talked about: propose a model to change milk prices to reflect regional conditions. Can we put together a model that keeps our milk shed here local and not be subject to the state or even the federal pricing system? Number two, provide more opportunities for on-farm and off-farm processing, more of a collaborative approach between dairy producers and dairy processors. Next, we have encourage new land owners to be productive in the agricultural community and educate them on the benefits of participating in agricultural practices. The fourth one we have here is utilize current models such as the Tamales Bay TMDL project, the grazing waiver project, and to work with regulators on forthcoming regional issues. We have one coming down in front of us right now, which is air quality, and if we can take that collaborative approach to the air quality issues, and that will certainly minimize the amount of regulations that we'll have to deal with. Streamline the permitting process for green energy projects. I think we've heard about some test sites that are going on right now, people that are trying to diversify in their properties, but the permitting process is really negatively affecting just the opportunity to get a project off the ground. So maybe we can have a streamlined process to look at some of those issues. Work with regional and government regulators to support our processors. It's really trying to get maybe a regional advocate so that we can help develop more processing capability here regionally. And the last one is promote a local model for products, and the processors could then, and like a made in Marin or grown in Marin. But one thing that we also realized, especially in dairy, that it's not just Marin, it's Marin and Sonoma County. So you know, if we could just promote that locally, that would be good. That's it.
We're a pretty diverse group too. Don't always agree on everything. Kind of split between conventional producers and grass-fed producers, I guess you'd say. But we agree on a lot of things. So just going through these different cards, labor laws was one thing that we thought should change through the state. We were hoping to interest some of our local legislators in making a change in the labor laws so that we would not be penalized for having our relatives and our interns work for us. Mentoring is a very important thing. Many of us have children who are not interested in agriculture, and it would be great if we could be part of the solution and enable and train young people who are interested in agriculture to learn, you know, how to be agriculturalists. So right now the labor laws are against us on this and they need to change. Processing facility has come up a lot. Rancho, we're not quite sure how stable Rancho is. It's, for us, a wonderful opportunity. It's local, but we're not sure how stable it is. So we're hoping it will continue. There's been an awful lot of talk about mobile slaughter facilities, and so far we haven't made any progress in this direction, but we're hoping that conversation will continue and perhaps produce positive results for us so that we can slaughter on ranch. The other thing that was brought up was that on-ranch slaughter in the old-fashioned way with a gun has never caused any problems for anybody. We've never had any E. coli reports. We've always produced wonderful food this way, and for those of us who are small operators, it is the best way to slaughter an animal, and it's illegal. It's illegal federally. There's a federal law against it. So again, you know, we would like some help with the bigger picture and to change the national law. A very small goal. We have Lisa Bush now, who is absolutely fabulous to help us with the permitting process through the county, but there was a pretty good suggestion made and that the county itself hire somebody on its planning department who is a full-time ag person who can help us get through the permitting process more easily. Tax incentives, this was Lauren's idea, and I'm not quite sure what it was, but it had something to do with being in agriculture and not paying as much in terms of taxes. I don't know how to do that, but it's a good idea. Ecosystem services, there are ecosystem services available now through NRCS. There are several different programs. One is actually called Ecosystem Services. This is a way for local landowners to benefit from all of the good things that they do for their land. A lot of us do good things. We can actually be financially rewarded for these things. So more of that type of program, carbon sequestration, being rewarded for carbon sequestration, something that we'd love to be rewarded for all the good things we do. Not just food production, which is also wonderful. In terms of education, we just felt that there was a need all across the board, not only educating our consumers, but educating one another so that we can come together as a community, educating the distaff side, those who consider themselves environmentalists and who are, for instance, anti-Drake's Bay Oyster Company. We just felt there's a huge need for education. You know, those people who think cows are bad, they're not bad, they're good. So just, this continues to be a problem. This is Mike's thing, my husband Mike. The need for high-speed internet access. It's a great idea. Another idea in this area was that someone take it upon themselves to provide young, bright interns to come out and help us install programs so that we can better reach our consumers.
Once you get the high-speed internet.
Right. Thank you.
So we're going to have Steve Kinsey give us a 30-second wrap-up, but before I turn it over to him, I just challenge you to take time again, look at the focus group posters, take time at looking here at how the morning session ideas were grouped and are coming together in terms of common themes. It'll be important as Steve finishes and lets us go that you go and have lunch for 45 minutes, but that you come back at the end of that 45 minutes so we can keep the day going. So with that, Steve, thanks for some wrap-up comments.
Thank you. Actually, it's not wrap-up. It's to motivate you to come back and be just as productive in the afternoon on a full stomach as you were in the morning, full of ideas. The one thing I wanted to say as we move from here to lunch is that we were in a couple buildings down, but out here at the ranch 13 years ago, as I said earlier this morning. And the difference I'm feeling today is that, and I mentioned this to Ellie, 13 years ago we had this summit of producers, and what we were really trying to do is embed the idea of diversification. And as John mentioned a few minutes ago, now it's a matter of survival, the recognition. It's that idea is fully embedded, and now we're figuring out what to do to make that happen. So that's an illustration to me of what we've done with this period of time over these last years. We have in this room the collective wisdom to figure this out. This is impressive. We've got the pioneers of the last 3 decades, the folks who have given us the opportunity to even be in this room today with so much creativity here, and we want to acknowledge that. We also have the future. We have the younger ranchers, and Ellie and I were in this room a few years ago trying to explain to young ranchers the opportunities and listen to them about what they need to be effective. And Julie was here then, and she's here today, and you know she's a part of making the change happen. So that's a great example from my point of view. And it's bringing those together. You know, Henry mentioned the farmer to farmer. That's what we're doing in this room, farmer to farmer. We're coming together to figure this out. So I think what I want to say as we head off to lunch is that an important part of success, whatever you're doing, involves the relationships you have. And so one thing about relationships that's really positive is that if we trust each other, we give each other a little more room, a little more opportunity for innovation, for flexibility, for trying things out without the fear of failure collapsing us down. It gives us what we need to go forward. In addition to that, the idea of coming together, building relationships, is best done over breaking of bread. And that's where we're about to all head off to break bread. And I think that's an important thing, obviously, for sustenance, but also for successful relationships. And we've spent this whole morning talking about what we need, expressing that very accurately. We need this, we need that, we need the other thing. Take a moment before we eat to acknowledge what we have. We have a tremendously bountiful place. We have a community like this. We are very fortunate people. I'm thankful to be here with all of you. Let's go eat.